So as I said before, I'll rewind, we'll come again for the rest of you guys. What happened is that a friend of mine has this magazine called Too Huge, and it's about space. It's about space and, you know, like romanticism of space, right? So he asked me to write something about Jamaica and my memories of Jamaica. Okay? So what I read before was about the yard and bonfires, and now I'm going to read about the ghetto. Okay? So if you know me, you know I'm not from the ghetto, but I'm going to write about my image or my experiences in the ghetto. Okay? Okay. So I don't know, like this I just finished, literally I finished it, got on the train and then came here, so it might not work out completely. Bear with me. Okay. So, come and start, okay? So Kingston is a paradoxical city. There are mansions and tenement yards, bimmers and pushcarts, gold and zinc. In Kingston, the rich and poor overlap in a way that isn't common in most cities. Call it poor city planning or opportunistic, spontaneous development, Jamaica's capital is a patchwork of rich and poor neighborhoods. Tree-lined avenues with manicured grass sidewalks with large, comfortable houses exist not far from lanes lined with zinc fences and clapboard shacks. Along the same road in less than 3 kilometers, the large mansions of Graham Heights blend seamlessly and almost instantaneously into the tenement-style housing of Birdsucker Lane. I don't know if you call Birdsucker Lane tenement. Would you? Birdsucker Lane. Who knows that song? Who knows that song? Would you? Yeah. Am I using the word right? Okay.
So that they are tenement yards.
Because there are many houses in the city. Okay. Oh, it's right off Barbiton. It's right off Barbiton. Okay, I'll continue listening. Anyway,
okay, sorry.
So the ghettos are typically informal settlements, overlaid on the formal cityscape, or hidden in the cracks developing in areas that were left to their own devices, such as gully banks or open unused land. There are a maze of lanes, some wide enough for cars to pass through, and others wide enough only for one person. The ghettos of Kingston are dangerous, no lying, no joking, no getting around the point. Because of the existence of political garrisons, rival dons, otherwise called by the euphemistic term community leader, and local-based gangs, crime in Jamaica is very much tied to a locality. It's not uncommon to hear about warring communities in Kingston. As such, the ghettos are not a place that one can easily stroll into. Ghetto people don't take kindly to strangers, as an unknown face could carry death to the community. I went to primary school at St. Richard's Primary School, a public school. My parents used to be strong socialists and didn't believe in private education. It was attached to the church we attended and was bordered on one side by a middle-class neighborhood and the ghetto of Black Ants Lane on the other. St. Richard's faced Red Hills Road, a modest 2-lane street, but one of the main arteries of Kingston, running from the foot of the Red Hills in the west through the suburbs of uptown Kingston towards Halfway Tree. A walk home from St. Richard's would take about 30 minutes. When I was a child, my grandmother would come get my brother and I from primary school, then walk us home every day. The 2-3 o'clock tropical Jamaican sun beating down on us, we would walk home along Red Hills Road, lined with stores and businesses, then we turn right onto Whitehall Avenue, take the next left, passing by the quiet residences of Leicester Avenue, then on to Darlington Avenue, which would lead us to the manicured front lawns of Sullivan Avenue, where I lived. When we were old enough, we did this trip by ourselves. Whitehall Avenue always had a magic for me. Off it ran suburban streets, but also many lanes. It was a narrow, windy street shaded by mango and breadfruit trees. It was lined with houses and businesses, and behind these, residential neighborhoods and ghettos. The ghetto drew me off path many a time on the way home. I always liked the way they smelled like rotten ackee, a pungent, oily yet sweet smell. The streets were typically unpaved, and the dust from the dirt yards would get kicked up by the wind or young boys playing football barefoot. There were flea-bitten stray dogs laying with their flea-bitten pups clinging to their long teeth, and bad dogs barking and rushing passers-by who would go running if you made a motion at them. There was a rawness and a danger to the ghetto. Men sat in the shade, some smoking ganja, inspecting those passing by. in jeans and a merino. Their manly bodies seemed hard from slinging concrete bags and sawing wood. They were always clean though. With their pierced ears, aggressive voices, and badman poses, dreadlocks and cane rolls, the men sort of always scared me. However, if you said good morning, they would return the pleasantry. It was just what we Jamaicans call posing. But still, their bodies seemed to emit a strength not found in a gym and a chisel which every fitness enthusiast would envy. Their muscle skin glistening and polished by the harsh tropical sun. The women seemed even more rough. They seemed stern from raising their litter of children. Hair undone or half done, they could be heard screaming and complaining, a thunderous flow of patois that was even hard for me to follow. While they were doing hair, washing, or just hanging out. Appropriate to the dry but intense Kingston heat, no clothes seemed too tight or skimpy for them. Spandex was usually their second skin, and their bodies curved softly in imitation of the hills rising around Kingston. Their dark complexion blended into the shade where they sat on stoops, stools, and old fridges. The women of the ghetto seemed to emit a dangerous sexuality, an unwelcoming glare paired with the becoming flesh of their raw bodies. The smells of sweat drawing one into the depths of their curves. However, when the sexes mixed, their intimidating demeanors degraded into playful laughter, which at night would turn to vicious enjoyments. That's it.